What's going on, everybody? This is another CryptoPlanet University video, and this video is going to focus on teaching you what is blockchain. Um, a lot of you may be in the cryptocurrency space, or you may be brand new to it, and you're wondering what is blockchain. And blockchain isn't the same as Bitcoin, contrary to what a lot of people believe. But the average person today has heard of blockchain, but most people just don't understand what it is. And blockchain is just a chain of blocks that contain information. You're just going to really learn what this information is and how it works. Um, Really interesting news from, I believe, yesterday. The president of China announced that blockchain is going to be the future. So this could be a reason as to why people are starting to hear about this more now, and we'll probably see that grow as well. We're probably going to hear more about blockchain, probably hear much more about it over the next couple of months and years. So the original intention of this technology was to timestamp digital documents so that it's not possible to backdate them or tamper with them, like a notary. Blockchain was mostly unused until it was adapted by Satoshi Nakamoto, who created Bitcoin in 2009. Our Bitcoin video talks about that and how he created Bitcoin right after the stock market crash and how he used blockchain with his cryptocurrency. So what is contained inside each one of these blocks? I talked about how each block contains information. So each block contains data, hash of the block, and the hash of the previous block. So the data stored inside of the block depends on the type of blockchain. So for example, the Bitcoin blockchain would store data like sender, receiver, and the amount of Bitcoins that are being sent or received. The hash identifies the block and all of its contents, and it's always unique like a fingerprint. Once a block is created, the hash is being calculated, and changing something inside of the block will cause the hash to change. Hashes are very useful when you want to detect changes in blocks, because of what I just described, it makes it very easy to determine when there has been tampering. So the previous hash. The hash of the previous block creates a chain of blocks, making the blockchain secure. So in that chain, you're going to see the previous hash of each block on the next block that comes after it. So you'll see it'll be a chain. Proof of work. So blockchains have something called proof of work, or POW for short, which is what slows down the creation of new blocks. In Bitcoin's case, it takes about 10 minutes to calculate the proof of work and add a new block to the chain. So what proof of work is? It's really it's a mechanism where people are they are solving mathematical equations and they are getting rewarded for it, and they're getting rewarded in Bitcoin, and that is what makes the network run. And we talk about this in the Bitcoin video. Um, this mechanism makes it very difficult to tamper with the blocks, because if you tamper with one block, you have to recalculate the proof of work for all blocks that come after. So that means that your computer, after you try to tamper with this one block, you're going to have to spend 10 minutes on each block that comes after, solving the proof of work, solving those mathematical equations in order to tamper with every block that comes after. The security of a blockchain comes from its creative use of hashing and this proof of work mechanism. And this proof of work mechanism is truly amazing, in my opinion. So let's take a look at how it makes blockchain so secure. And we have a picture over here that shows what I was just describing. So this picture shows why proof of work makes blockchain so secure as a monetary system. It's almost impossible to alter a transaction and cheat the system because of this mechanism. So let's take a look. Everyone is working on block number 91. That's the yellow block that you see right there. There's a miner working on it, and there's one miner that wants to alter a transaction in block number 74, which, as you can see, is about, I believe that's 15 blocks behind. Actually, that's 16 or 7. I can't do math. 17 blocks off the top of my head. So he'd have to make changes and redo all the computations for block 74 to 90 and do block number 91. And that's actually 18 blocks of expensive computing. So it's actually expensive for miners to use electricity to work on each one of these blocks. So it wouldn't be worth it for him to do all of this and tamper with the blockchain because of all the money that it would cost for him to do this. And it wouldn't be likely that he'd be able to accomplish this task because he would have to do it all before everyone else in the Bitcoin network finished just one block. And that would be block number 91. And that would take about 10 minutes. So he would have to somehow very quickly alter the block, every single block before that, and alter that one, and each one of those blocks takes 10 minutes. So it's realistically impossible, which why you can't cheat the Bitcoin network, which is partially also what gives Bitcoin value and what makes it valuable to work on the Bitcoin network by mining blocks. So what else makes a blockchain secure? It's not just proof of work, and proof of work makes it very secure, but there is more. There is one more way that blockchains secure themselves, and that is by being distributed. So instead of using a central entity to manage the blockchain, blockchains use a peer-to-peer network, and everyone is allowed to join. When someone joins the network, they get a full copy of the blockchain. So what is a peer-to-peer network and how does it work? In its simplest form, a peer-to-peer network is created when two or more PCs are connected and share resources without going through a separate server computer. When someone creates a new block, that block is sent to everyone on the network, and each person on that network is using their node to verify the block to make sure it hasn't been tampered with. And if everything checks out, each node adds this block to their own blockchain. So if a block has been tampered with, it won't be added by everyone who is running this network. So all the nodes in this network create consensus. And in case anyone here doesn't know what node means, that means computer. They agree about which blocks are valid and which aren't. So everyone is deciding whether these blocks are valid or not. So to successfully tamper with the blockchain, you need to tamper with all the blocks on the chain, redo the proof of work for each block, and take control of more than 50% of the P2P network. So they need to have control of more than 50% of these nodes. Only then will your tampered block become accepted by everyone else. So chances are that um, no one is going to have more than 50% of the control of this network. It's very expensive to control more than 50% of the nodes. Maybe a country could accomplish that, but I think that would be negative for Bitcoin. I don't think that would create incentive to own Bitcoin, and just doing so would be a negative thing, and it wouldn't work out for you. But if a country decides to do this, we may see a race between different governments in order to purchase Bitcoin to stop the other from doing that if Bitcoin becomes a global currency, which I expect it to in the next couple of years. So where do coins come into play? What gives them real value? And by coins, I mean different cryptocurrencies. Most people don't understand how cryptocurrencies could have a real value. Even many people who invest in them don't understand why. And to be honest, I didn't understand why when I first got into this a few years ago. I just was making easy money doing it in a bull run, and I didn't know what I was doing. So a lot of people think that you're just buying into the hype and the potential that someone else will pay a higher price. But that's not exactly correct unless you're buying into coins that have absolutely nothing going for them, and they are just scams that are getting hyped and pumped, and they're worthless. Which there are a lot of those. So you have to do a lot of research before you invest in any sort of cryptocurrency, and that's why you're here. You're doing research right now, so you're already on the right track. So when miners put in the time and effort to solve proof of work, create new blocks, validate transactions, and keep the network secure, they of course aren't doing all this for free. It's expensive to do this. You're using a lot of electricity, a lot of power, and that costs money. So they're doing it for a reward. And on the Bitcoin blockchain, they are rewarded in Bitcoin. Without a monetary reward, there would be no reason for people to validate transactions and make blockchain work. So on a different network where they also use proof of work, they're probably also getting rewarded in that currency, whatever cryptocurrency it is. Not every blockchain uses proof of work. We'll go into the different proof of there's proof of stake. We'll go into these in a different video. So Ethereum and smart contracts. This is a bit different from just the traditional blockchain. A smart contract is an agreement between two people in the form of computer code, and they run on the blockchain, so they are stored on a public database and cannot be changed. First conceived in 1993, a while ago, the idea was originally described by a computer scientist, Nick Szabo, as a kind of digital vending machine. In his famous example, he described how users could input data or value and receive a finite item from a machine, in this case, a real-world snack or a soft drink. Ethereum allows developers to program their own smart contracts. Smart contracts can function as multi-signature accounts so that funds are spent only when a required percentage of people agree. Uh, they can be used to manage agreements between users. Say if one buys insurance from the other or a property, store information about an application, such as domain registration information or membership records. If you look back in history, I would say, for example, during the Soviet Union, last time I was in Eastern Europe, I went to Georgia, and I stayed with a friend whose family had their apartment building taken from them during the Soviet Union. And now that the Soviet Union has collapsed, it's very difficult for them to prove that they own this property. But if they had a smart contract that proved that they had owned that property and it showed that they had bought it from someone or that there was some documentation held in this smart contract on a blockchain, they could prove now very easily that that is their property and they could take it back without much of an issue. So this could be great for a situation like that, or when a dictator comes to power and takes people's property, and say he's gone 20 years from that point, and you want to prove that that property is yours, you have the possibility of doing that. It may not guarantee you get it back by whoever is in power at that time, but you still have that evidence that you own that property or whatever you may be using it to show that you own. So, from an investor's perspective, investment should always be done with caution. But from my perspective, I think that certain cryptocurrencies should be purchased by anyone who believes in this technology and sees how it could have a positive impact on the world. And I think it should also be used by anyone who realizes the potential of what it can do for people that can't be banked. And there are about 1.2 billion people in the world who don't have access to banking. Also, most cryptocurrencies are currently down 90 to 99% from their highest prices. So now could be the best time to invest. And like I said before, research is the most important thing that you must do before investing in any cryptocurrency. And we are not financial advisors, so we are not recommending any specific cryptocurrency. We are just putting out our own analysis. We are just putting out our own research, and we recommend you guys do your own as well. If you want to invest, it is very important to understand that you must be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. That's something that I learned from Warren Buffett, and you must keep that in mind at all times, especially when you notice that people are becoming very hyped and it seems like people think that everything is the next big thing. For example, people buying this one cryptocurrency called Chainlink. I noticed people started acting like it was the new paradigm, saying it was going to be a threat to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And to me, that signaled some sort of short-term bubble, at least short-term. Hopefully not long-term for those who are invested in it, but things like this usually result in prices dumping. All right, I hope you guys learned a lot about the blockchain in this video. And if you have any questions, you could always hit us up. We are on Telegram, Instagram, Twitter. All links are available on the site, and you can always, ask us any questions there. Follow us on YouTube as well. All right, guys, take care.